this is the zip pouch Fabrikit by Threaders for Crafters Companion, and this is the finished pouch. Absolutely lovely. So inside the box you're going to get full written instructions, you're going to get matching zip, the matching thread, enough wadding for the zip pouch, and the Fabrikit itself, which is the panel of fabric you just need to cut out and stitch. So now we've cut out the panels, we've put the wadding on. That's super easy because it's fusible. You just now have to create the little zip pull, and if I put that on my desk we'll be able to see from the other angle. So all you need to do that with obviously is cut it out, fold it 1/4 inch in both sides, can you see that? And then fold it again and give it a good press so you've got a lovely straight seam there. And what I'll do in a minute is stitch along there to make that super neat. So then what we need to do is start putting the zip in. Now just to make sure this is lovely and close to the edge of the zip, I'm going to do each piece individually. So I'm going to do the main fabric first, so I'm going to pop that on. I'm going to use my quilting clips just to hold it in place. And just to make sure that we get a nice straight line. So I'm putting the right sides together onto the right side of the zip, okay? So you can see right side to right side. We can go from this side here. I can move that zip pull out of the way so it's not getting in the way of my stitching. So let's do it that way, and then you can see probably a lot better. And also it means that we have a lovely accurate line. So again, just make sure that that zip stays in place. When we get so far, pop your needle down, lift your foot up and just move that zipper pull a little bit out of the way. And again, make sure that you're catching all the layers. That's a lovely neat edge. So the next thing we need to do is actually put the lining in. And we'll just do one side at a time. So if you think the bag, inside the bag, this is the piece that you need to see. So it's just a case of turning that over on itself. So in actual fact what you're doing is right sides together with the lining and the main fabric, and again we'll just stitch that in place. Now again, you're not going to be able to see the zip pull at all now, so you're going to have to be sort of judge how you're getting along, and just move that zip pull out of the way, and just as long as you line it up you'll be fine, and the lining isn't as crucial as the front. Again, we'll put that needle down so we've always got control, and we'll just move along so all the edges are lined up. So I'm using my zipper foot here. So there we are. So that's one side done. So that's the lining, and that's the front of the bag there. So now we've put the zip in, all we need to do is top stitch along both sides of that zip just to neaten it up. So I've opened that up, I've given it a jolly good press, and now all I'm going to do is a top stitch. Now it's entirely up to you what width, but about 1/4 inch is always fine. So if I bring my machine in so you can see, and again I wouldn't bother with a locking stitch there, this is just purely for decoration. Get to a certain point, we'll just move that out of the way. Just while we've got that now top stitched and opened nice and neatly, I want to put the zip pull now in the actual bag itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this zip pull down, because I actually want the zip tab to actually be right across there like that. So it's best to get that out of the way. Now these are open, so you just need to make sure that you catch those zips together like that, and stitch over the top. Just be aware you've got a piece of metal there. If you're using, what you could do is move that along so that wasn't there, or if you're using maybe the zip on the roll, if you're making another one, then you won't have that problem. But just be aware that metal's there, you want to avoid it. So we'll just pop that under the machine. So doing it at the moment so it faces into the bag. There we are. So that is actually encased now, my zipper pull. So now we've put our tab on there, we now need to sew the whole bag together. So you're going to put right sides together of your main fabric, but also you're going to sew the lining pieces all in one go. So now it's just a case of lining all those pieces up, making sure that you get all the 4 layers. Now this is where I probably do a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, just to make sure I catch all those layers together. So I'm going to stitch right across the bottom there. So if you think about it, that's going to be seen inside the bag, so we're going to neaten it as well. So this is just a little bit over than 1/4 of an inch. Make sure we're on a straight stitch still, and we're going straight across. So now I'm going to zigzag, so change your machine to a zigzag stitch, and we've all got those on our machine. I'm going to make mine slightly wider and slightly narrower, not quite a satin stitch. Okay, so that's the bottom seam done. So now what we have to do is just get our hands in there. You've almost made a roll. And you're actually going to bring the zip seam straight down to your bottom seam, and you're going to stitch straight across there. So as long as you just eyeball that, make sure it's lined up, and then you're going to stitch across there and across there. Now I've still got that on my zigzag, so let's take it back to straight stitch. I'll do the other seam. Yeah, little locking stitch there. So now we've stitched up, we've stitched along the bottom there, neatened it. Now we've stitched up both sides like that, so your zip is right across the middle there. All we need to do now is make the corners. So all you need to do with that is pop your hand inside, bring your finger into that corner there, and actually then spread those seams out. So you've got a lot of seams going on here. You've got the seams of the wadding, the lining and the main fabric as well, so it's going to, your machine's going, you're going to hear it, that's what I'm trying to say. So on the instructions, I'll just make sure, it says it's 1 3/4 from the triangle point. So again, got back to a straight stitch, just do a locking stitch there, and I'm actually going to, I'm going to leave that seam going out, so it's going against the seam. So as I get to it, lift up your foot and just ease that under. There we go. So that's one. So last one now. So made my point, got it lined up on my machine, little locking stitch to start. And there we are. Now just trim your threads. I would check your work at this point. I would turn this right side round now and just check your corners are nice and straight and boxy. Then what you're going to do is actually snip these pieces off. So where you've stitched, let me just hold that up so you can see. So where you've stitched across there, to cut it, and then you're going to zigzag it like you did the other seam. So I've finished the entire thing now. I've cut my corners off and I've neatened them with a zigzag. And all I need to do now is push this bag out, and we can see how it looks when it's done and when it's completed. Just bring the zip around here, and there we are. There's your lovely zip pouch by Threaders from Crafter's Companion.